Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. I hear voices. Not just your garden variety voices like, oh, I'm sad. Cake will cheer me up. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Okay, back to the diet on Monday. I hear more voices than that. And they're particularly triggered at a certain time in my life. And that time would be when I'm about to write a speech. Now, recently, we all, or most of us, went to see Craig Valentine. Now, this is an amazing public speaker. And he gives you a fire hose full of information. And his words will ring in your ears for months afterwards, particularly when you're about to write a speech. In fact, after I left, I felt like a virgin that had been forced to see 50 Shades of Grey. Way too much information for me to deal with. These are the things that come to my mind. When you build yourself up, you let your audience down. Speak to one, but look at all. Your dream is not for sale. But I hear other voices too. I hear the sage words of wisdom that you've so generously shared with me. Don't pace. Walk with purpose. Lean in, you give a point. Lean back for them to observe it. To absorb it. Now, I work on my speeches a long time in advance, and I collect little ideas. I overhear people speaking. I hear clever things on the news, and I write them on little bits of paper. I put them on my laptop. So a few weeks ago, when it was time to write the speech, I thought, I've got this. I got Craig Valentine. I got my Toastmasters tips. I got my little pieces of paper. But when I got to the computer, I realized I got nothing. So I thought, I don't know, I'll wash the windows. Physical activity gets oxygen to the brain. Oxygen to the brain gets you thinking. So off I go. And I'm washing the windows thinking, Janine, get a grip. So I held the squeegee tighter. I kept washing, and I thought, I've written 117 speeches. I've been a member of Toastmasters for 17 years. Why aren't I channeling Craig Valentine? I was channeling Sarah Palin. And even if you're a Republican, no, that is not a good thing. So I thought, okay, back to the typewriter, back to the laptop. Off I went. I was on a roll. A valiant effort. Things were tripping off my fingers. Going to the computer, I realized I had written my shopping list. Okay, change of scenery always works. I'll go to the Beverly Hills Library. It inspires me. It's quiet. It's got free parking. Lots of smart people working. Watch me go. I got my Story Master's manual. I got my stuff. I went to the door. Here I go, going to the door. I'm leaving now. Can't stop me leaving now. Watch me go, leaving now. 20 minutes later, I walked out the door, got in the car, and ended up at Starbucks in Pavilions. Now, clearly, my car knew that those smart, industrious people would be a little too intimidating for me. Great thing about Pavilions is it's noisy. Really, really noisy. Noisier than your voice. Almost as noisy as your voice. Noisier than Craig's voice. Now, whether it was the double espresso, I don't know what it was, but I got motivated. I read the manual from front to back, including the credits. Got back in the car, went home, and as I was driving home, I thought, I've got a brilliant idea. Change manuals. Go back home, and I I get out all my manuals. Story talent, I have no stories to tell. I get out the entertaining speaker. The only thing all these speeches that I'm preparing have in common is they're boring. The next manual, competent communicator. I've only got 4 speeches to go. Well, the last 2 are inspire your audience. That was immediately off the list. The next one was something very highbrow, right off the list. So I go back to get to the point. And then I remember Craig Valentine saying, your point should be able to be expressed in 10 words or less. Easy, Craig. What's the point? You're born, you write a few speeches, you die. That's how I was. Once again, I am back to the drawing board. Mr. Valentine also said, go to the pain. I am living the pain. He also said, good is the enemy of great. And I thought, Craig, you're right. And I will be so happy if this speech is even remotely good. Great is so on its own, I simply don't care. But what I will tell you, and here is my point. After 17 years at Toastmasters, I can tell you, some speeches cannot wait to be born. They go from your fingers to the paper, to your brain, and they flood out lovingly. They transmit to your gorgeous body language, they mesmerize your audience and amaze you. There are other speeches, however, that no matter how hard you work, and I worked hard, no matter what you do or how to try to trick yourself, Mercury retrograde and everything else will conspire you to leave you bloodied, beaten, and battered. The point is, you just show up. Madam Toastmaster.